Hello, Web3 TV friends. It's Ornella Hernandez, and I'm in Austin, Texas for the Consensus Conference. I'm here with John Linden, who is the CEO of Mythical Games, and you just made a major announcement up on stage. Tell me more about it, please.
Yeah, we're excited to announce today that we are partnering with Pudgy Penguins, and I think we're very excited about this opportunity. I think what Pudgy's been able to do with the Web3 brand and just kind of hit this mainstream retail channel and social channels, and they're already kind of this triple threat, and we want to help bring gaming to the mix with them. So we're partnering up with them. We're going to be bringing out kind of a AAA mobile game with them in early next year.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about what we can expect from this game. You said it's mobile, so why that choice and why Pudgy Penguins in the first place?
Yeah, so again, Pudgy, like I said, we've been talking to Luca and team for a while. We've been talking to a lot of the Web3 brands, and I just think that their vision of where they're taking that brand is really how do you bring Web3 into the mainstream consumer audience? And honestly, they've just been delivering nonstop. I mean, Walmart, Target, social, all this type of stuff. So I think they're a perfect brand for where what the type of project we'd look for. We're excited just because we want to bring out kind of this AAA mobile experience, and that's been one thing we've done well. NFL Rivals just crossed 5 million players now on mobile. So we've been able to kind of work not only with Apple and Google on how to bring this out, but we've really found that the way you can integrate Web3 with that mainstream audience and mobile in particular works great. It works on other platforms as well, but our focus right now is mobile.
Okay. And what is the roadmap? When can we expect the first phases of this game to come out?
Yeah, so we haven't announced that quite yet. That part we didn't quite announce, but we will be dropping some new stuff very soon here. I think there's another event coming up in a month or so, and we'll be trying to show a lot more of the gameplay and stuff like that we put out together. But I say we're on a pretty fast pace, but I can't quite release that without a more coordinated effort with Pudgy. So.
Okay, keep me updated then.
Yep.
And talk to me a little bit more about this conference, how it's been going so far. Is it your first time at Consensus?
Yeah, second time at Consensus here. It's crazy. It's huge. It's massive. There's a lot of people here. It's kind of part family reunion. It feels like you run into everybody you know. But I think it's the energy here is great. I think that's been a big difference even in the last couple of years. The energy is really strong. There's a lot of great new partnerships coming out of it, and I think it's quite a productive conference. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so it's my first time actually. So not in Austin, but at the conference. So I'm super excited to get to talk to everyone and yourself and find out more about what's going on in the world of video games. And I wanted to also just get your take on maybe what blockchain-based gaming, how it is right now. How would you rate it? How would you grade it? And what do you think it needs more of?
Yeah, no, that's great. I think we're now getting to a point that we're seeing these economies start to get refined. We're starting to see how does it really play out to these consumers, right? And I think that's one thing we're kind of getting into now is gamers are not necessarily crypto traders, right? They're consumers. They think in terms of liquidity. They think in terms of I want this and I will give you this, right? And I think what we're finding now is that we can actually blend those concepts to bring that innovation into these worlds, but also give them something they want, right? It really adds a lot of value to that game experience. So I think we're seeing that happen now. We're starting to see games hit millions of people. I think this year we'll start seeing games that maybe hit tens of millions of people. And I think what we're going to see next year, we already know a lot of the games coming out next year. We're now starting to see the really, really big game developers, people that have made the Grand Theft Autos, people that have made the EverQuest, right? They're now looking at releasing big games that have been in development for 4 or 5 years now. So we are really hitting that kind of that growth phase, I think, and we're going to see billions of dollars of transaction volume added in the next 12 months. So.
And what do you think has finally convinced some of these big studios like Epic Games or like you mentioned Rockstar from Grand Theft Auto to finally get into or incorporate some more NFTs or just blockchain-based elements in their games?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of early hesitation, and rightfully so. There was a lot of it was all about Wind Moon and 10x in 4 days, and that's not really what the mainstream game companies are looking for. What they're looking for is how do we have a better experience for gamers? How do we have a more engaging experience for gamers? And how do we do it to where it's something that it feels very natural to them? And it's just taken us a little while to get there. We've done a lot of work now. There's been a lot of kind of iteration around that. Apple and Google are now on board. Epic Games is on board. So I think it's just taken a little while to kind of break down some of the walls and really kind of educate, but also refine. And I think we're now at a point now that, the real reason they're coming is it's adding a lot of additional revenue to these games, right? So that's it's becoming a very big competitive advantage to have kind of secondary, but more importantly, it's also we're seeing proven engagement lifts and players play more. They're more engaged with these games when they have this concept of ownership.
Right. So I guess it's a revenue and a profit thing, but the gamers themselves are also being more open to it, like you said. All right, and then one more question on Pudgy Penguins, because like you said, they're really like a whole universe ecosystem. They have the plushie toys, they have now games with you. How do you think they compare to other NFT communities, and like what is it that makes them stand out?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, Luca in particular, he's very, I mean, he comes from the retail space, and his vision of how to take this IP and do something amazing with it has just been, I think, revolutionary for Web3. So what I'd love to see, I hope more Web3 projects think about that. It's not just about having 10,000 NFTs, right? It's really about how do you build the community? What is the real utility, right? And I think I have yet to see a project that's done it better than what he's been able to pull off. And he's done it in a very short order. Like, I can't wait to see what he does over the next 4 or 5 years with that brand, because I think he's just taken it to a whole new level. Like, I think he'll be competing with a lot of the main retail brands, you know, and I think that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm a little Pudgy holder, so so I'm a little partial.
Something for you in the game at some point too. So
yes, please, for little Pudgy holders, please don't forget about it.
Yeah, we haven't forgotten about you.
Okay, one last question for you, John. Since we are at the Consensus Conference, just wondering if you have any like advice maybe for others that are looking to get into the industry, that are always attending these conferences and maybe just want to find their way in the industry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, this conference, as you can see, if you walk around, it's all about networking, and networking does help. You know, I think having a great idea and just starting to find people that share that vision. That's one thing I do love about Web3 that I haven't seen in some of the Web2 is that you start with community. You build the community almost ahead of any product, and that's really, really fascinating. It's you know, it's a little hard to get into at first, but I think if you can start building that community, and it's literally one person at a time, you can start making these ideas a reality, right? So I think that's a really important one. Network, find people that are also passionate about that idea, and use the online tools and kind of the world as your community to kind of build that up. So it seems to be working a lot. We're seeing, you know, there's different iterations of it, but that seems to be the easiest way to get in, is just start with community first.
Love that. Good advice. Well, thank you so much for your time, John, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Yeah, thank you very much.